The more you know about something, the dumber you get is basically what it comes down to.
And now for something completely different.
Welcome to
Surrounded by idiots.
Radio Podcast.
Helping to make your life at least 1% better every single day. This is the Surrounded by Idiots Radio Podcast. Hey, this is Tony Dufresne, PhD, your host. I'm really glad to be back with you. This week, I'm going to call it Never Satisfied. Why you keep moving the carrot on yourself. And this all comes down to a psychological concept. It's called the Prevalence-Induced concept change. When you improve your life in any particular way, be it health or education or job or relationship, you judge everything from that new context. Your new reality shifts, right? So you're not living in that same reality that you were in before with the same expectations that you had for yourself before, because you've learned and you've improved and you've grown up into a new level. I like to look at it as like an expanding bubble. So your bubble's bigger. You got a bigger, and you're living on a different plane of reality. So now you have a higher expectations for yourself, right? Because as you improve, you're going to have bigger expectations of yourself because you've already gone through that one part. The more you know about something, the dumber you get is basically what it comes down to. Because as you go deeper into something, you see things more. It's exactly like looking at something like by itself, like just as you're looking something, maybe a really tiny piece of seaweed, but then you put it under a microscope and it's a whole different world. In relationships, this comes up a lot because when you first get to know somebody and you're getting into that relationship, you're blinded, obviously, by just the romantic nature of it and the intense chemistry that comes along with that. But once that starts to fit into where it's supposed to be, take its place, because it's not supposed to be the driving force in any relationship. It is at the beginning because instinctually we need that so we can procreate and make babies. But if you get past that and you continue to nurture and you get it into evolve in a relationship, you'll notice, this happens to everybody, is that the honeymoon phase is over, then you start to become friends and you start to become people who cohabitate together and people who are a team. When you do that, a lot of times the stuff at the beginning that you thought, oh, that was cute or quirky, after a while you're like, oh no, this just bugs you. What happens is that it's the same thing. When you get into something and then you have a higher expectation, you have an expectation that, well, you've been with them for a year, they should know what you're talking about. Or you've been with them for a couple years, they should know what you want for dinner, or they should know what kind of flower that you like, or they should know that you've had a hard day, and you know that stuff in terms of having the expectation of the other person reading your mind. That's where things go screwy, and that's where a lot of problems as a couples counselor, I've seen a lot of that because people have these expectations as the relationship grows, that the other person is just, they're along for the ride and they want to do the things that are in your mind and they have no idea what's going on. Nobody does. Nobody knows what's going on in your mind. And don't put that expectation on the other person. But that does come down to this prevalence-induced concept change, because the more you grow, the more expectations you're going to have. If you don't have more expectations in a relationship, it means you're stagnant. And there's a good possibility that that's not going to be great for you or for your partner. It's not because you're doing it to yourself necessarily consciously. It's a subconscious human instinctual behavior. We all do it because it's a natural thing. When you get to a higher level, when you expand your expectation, then the other little things that you see, they become the problems, and then you have to jump on those. So basically, there will constantly be problems. I don't care what level of life that you're at in terms of whatever physical, mental, emotional, job, relationship, there will always be issues that come up because you'll create issues in your mind. Now, the question is, are they tragic issues, or are they really important or something that you should work with, or are they something you're bringing up because you want to sabotage something? And that's a question that you have, and that depends. I can't say whether it's one or the other because you never know till you get to that point. If your focus starts to go back onto you beating yourself up because you're not moving fast enough or things aren't happening quickly enough, then your focus is not on forward momentum and moving forward and doing that little 1% every single day. And because it reframes, it shifts your focus. So it's a matter of shifting the focus to the positive and to continuing to move forward, and that's the whole thing. So what I'd like you to do is to just take the next 5 minutes. That's it. Just whether you're driving, you're listening to this on the airplane, you're hanging out at home, you're vacuuming, I don't care, whatever you happen to do. Just take the next 5 minutes. I don't care what you're doing. Just do a quick self-inventory. List off 3 or 4 or 5 things that over the last 3 years that you've accomplished and where you're at now versus if you look at yourself like 3 years from now. And I'm not talking about just money or just job or just relationship. I'm talking everything, because if you are listening to this right now, I already know for a fact you're doing good stuff for yourself and you are trying to expand for yourself, or you would not be listening to this. You'd be watching the freaking Kardashians or something. So I understand that you are in a good place already, in a better place than you may even think you are, even though you feel stuck, because believe me, I know how the feeling stuck thing goes. But I'd just like you to take 5 minutes. That's it. And just go and just, figure out like 3, 4, 5 things that are better now versus like 3 years ago. And then hopefully that'll give you some good positive momentum to sit down and say, okay, now I'm good, and where's that next 1%? Where's that little baby step? Where do I need to take that next notch to get to where I want to go? And then you figure it out there. So that's all I have for you. If you want to share some of your stories, that'd be great. You can go to javabud.com, JAVABUD, to watch the video and the podcast and listen to the podcast. Also iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. And if you have any questions or comments or anything that you'd like to suggest, you can always reach me at tony@javabud, JAVABUD.com. I hope things are good. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will be back to you very shortly. Take care.